Hey folks, in today's video we're going to work on the Sanchin Kata. As many of you all know, this is the first and most important kata that we do, and it's from this kata that everything that you do in your karate comes from. So there's some fine points that we're going to work on with Senpai Robert, but first I want to show you what it looks like from my perspective with intensity, speed, and intent. Arigatou gozaimasu. So now let's talk about four things you can do at home to make sure that your Sanchin Kata looks better, and more better. First thing we're going to work on is how you chamber your strike and then use it as a very powerful attack. Then we're going to look at his feet and make sure that everybody's turning correctly. And then we're going to work on the stepping. And then we're going to work on the Wauke block. Let's start with the strike. Senpai is going to take his arm, leaving his elbow as still as possible, bringing it over to the center of his other hand and slide down his arm till his elbow touches his body, at which point his entire arm is going to rub against his body. Right? Good. Now if you watch where his strike is actually headed, it's there. But as Senpai is striking, he's rubbing his arm against his body, his elbow is rubbing his body, and then it comes back to his Sanchin position. So with his strike chambered at that line, you see that his fingertips are actually headed a little bit higher, probably about 4 or 5 inches higher. What we say in class is smack the bug. So pretend like you are trying to smack a bug that is right here. So you'll watch his hand flap down like that. Let's try that strike one more time. Height. He chambers his arm, pulls it back. You see where it's headed now, but where it actually winds up is higher. Smack. Bang. Just like that. Now let's watch it in regular speed. Height. Good strike. Now let's talk about the turn. Very important. If you have a would-be attacker coming up from behind you and you stop, let's just say your right foot is in the back. You want to turn that and get that set first. So what you're going to notice in your Sanchin turn, Senpai is going to raise his right heel very slightly, pivot on the ball or toes of his feet all the way in one motion, and then take his back foot or his left foot and slide it over back into that Sanchin dachi or arrowed position, pointing towards where that would-be attacker might be. Again, let's watch it one more time. He's going to turn his back foot on the ball of his foot, then slide the other one over. In two very specific moves, nice and efficient, he's ready for action coming the other way. Let's look at it from the back. Senpai's going to face the back. He's got his left foot in the front. Someone's coming up from behind. He turns his right foot, picking up that heel, turning on the ball of his toes, steps over, and in one easy, simple move, he is now back to that Sanchin dachi or Sanchin foot position with his arrow and focus and power and stability all headed towards that point where the attacker might be standing. Now let's talk about the steps. Okay, let's rewind the tape. I've been using the word dachi, D-A-I-C-H-I. Dachi is a Japanese word that means foot position or stance. There are a lot of different adjectives you might use to describe the foot position. So right here what we have is the Sanchin dachi, the Sanchin foot position. And again, it looks like an arrowed positioning of your feet and toes so that your power, your focus, your alignment is directed towards your center. Okay? The way you step is very important, similar to the way when a car drives, the way the tires on the ground are pointed in the correct direction. What we'd step in is something called a crescent step, or half circle, if you will. So you're going to see Senpai bring his his left foot into his center line, which would be this red line, and then back out. When he lands now in this arrowed position again. That's a very important thing. Now he's going to step again. His right foot comes into a center line and back out. He's going to step again, coming into a center line and back out. Constantly making sure that his feet have that sloped position, again, reminding you and teaching your body to stay focused with your attack and your balance and your symmetry. Let's look at the Wauke. So the Wauke is very important. After your 3 double strikes in your Sanchin Kata, you come back to this Bushkin Kamai position, not your Sanchin Kamai, but your Bushkin Kamai, and based on the foot that's in front, your left foot in this case, that's the direction you would turn in. So what's going to happen is your foot's going to move again in that sweeping motion. You're going to slide a little bit with that foot and then adjust your back foot. Height. Then you'll see Senpai post. The post is determined by which foot's in front. So his left foot's in front, his left hand comes down, his right hand comes to the crease of his elbow, and he does his Wauke block and strike. Height. Now again, he's going to pivot his back foot on his toes. He does a 180-degree turn. His right foot's now in front. He's going to post his right hand down. His left hand is straight. He's going to do his Wauke, his circular motion and block and attack. And now recoil. And then he's going to pivot both of his feet towards the front. And you'll see again that his left foot now winds up in front. Let's talk about the Wauke in just a little bit more detail so you can understand clearly what you're doing. The left foot, which is in front, means the left hand comes down in the beginning of the block, and when you finish the block, it's going to be down. His left hand comes down to his body line, his right hand comes over to the crease of his elbow, making sure that his wrist is very straight and strong. He's going to do a circle with his left, height. His right hand just went along like a coupling rod on a train, and then it peels across to come to the top where his chest is, while his left hand, which started down and then did that circle, now is lowered, and then he comes straight out towards the targets. The targets are very particular, but what's even more important is what his weapons are. These are bushkins, your thumb knuckles, okay? The very tips of those knuckles should be what you are hitting with, and if you look at where his fingers are, the hand that is raised, fingers are pointing up, the lower hand has the fingers pointing out. And then he recoils, and he comes back to a position that is a fist distance off of his body. So it doesn't rest on your body, it's off your body. Let's try that one more time. Left foot's in front, left hand comes down, he posts, he does his Wauke block, he strikes, and comes back straight away. Good. Let's try it with the right foot in front. His right foot would be in front, his right hand would come down, he posts, he does his circle, brings it back. Now if you notice, his right hand was down when it started, now that's down, he strikes, fingers up, fingers outside, and then he recoils. That's the Wauke block. Practice it until you can't practice it anymore, and then practice it again. Now there's one important thing that you need to remember about Sanchin, and that is it really does a good job at helping you to build stability and build power. So there's 2 important things I want you to focus on as you get better and better with these techniques. The first thing is your breathing. I've often described in class that the way you breathe, and you may have heard me doing it when I was doing my kata, my version of Sanchin, you are filling your center, filling your core with a bunch of compressed air. So you breathe in through your nose, and then you compress it down to your center, securing this portion of your body once again to make sure that it doesn't wobble as you're striking, as you're blocking, as you're trying to hold yourself strong on the ground. By doing that, and then securing yourself in the center, your body is strong so that you can then have the second point I want you to focus on, kime, a sudden ending to the power that you're getting better at creating. And here's what it looks like. But before I show you what it looks like, I want you to see what it doesn't look like. Can you show them some bad strikes? Do you think you can muster up some bad strikes? Let me see what your strikes look like with no kime. So if you see there, do it over and over again. If you see what his hands look like, sometimes I describe it like wet meat or wobbly, or there's no bad intent. Kime literally means kimeru, which is a Japanese verb to decide. So what happens is he chambers back his hand in a very decisive way, and he strikes in a very decisive way, and his power is completely gone and through the target that you've attacked. Let's try it again. He chambers very decisively, and he strikes, boom, with a very sudden ending. And the better you get at delivering that type of a strike with a solid core, good feet, good foundation, the more power you have and the more knockout punch you have. Ich-ni-san, 1, 2, 3. Sanchin, 3 conflicts or agreements. The conflict in your mind, trying to understand what's going on in a situation. The conflict between your mind and your body, trying to make sure that your body is prepared to do what it's supposed to do in the face of that conflict or pressure. The third conflict, which is the comfort, the swag, the peace, the stillness that you need when it's time to be rooted and ready in the face of the boom.